Do you know why there is a ghost symbol on the packaging of this Koenigsegg YESKO? Well, it's definitely not Halloween. Hey everyone, this is Suresh from Mind is a Monkey coming to you guys with another episode of Let's Check Out Some Diecast. In today's video, we are going to be checking out the Koenigsegg YESKO Absolut, which is Metal Creations at Redline Club offering, and it comes in its acrylic case and everything. But this is a much larger packaging compared to the standard acrylic packaging that we usually see from Metal Creations. So I brought along the more recent Ford GT40 Mark II packaging for comparison. So I think this is one of those releases where it looks like the Porsche RWB and the Urban Outlaw releases that we have seen in the past. All right. Okay. So without further delay, let's open this up and check it out. Okay. So I have my box cutter here. So I'm opening this up. Okay. So the outer packaging reveals a relatively thinner inner packaging. All right. So this is also taped. Okay. So I kind of like pop out the case. So it has like a small diorama kind of video. And check this out. Okay, so there we have some beautiful details captured on the packaging. So it says it has a Koenigsegg, it has the Koenigsegg emblem and YESKO Absolut. Pretty beautiful detail there. This side just says Hot Wheels at Redline Club, metal on metal, real riders and stuff. There's like something like a small piece of paper. Okay, troubleshooting. Wow, so technical. So I think it's possibly to say that the doors can come off, but you can basically snap them back into position. All right. So okay. Yeah. So this is how the door's supposed to open up. Well, that's great. I don't know. It definitely carries some Lamborghini Countach vibes with regards to that doors, right? So but that sheet does come in handy. So this was the ghost symbol that I was talking about. We'll talk about that in a bit. Let's finish checking out this packaging. So YESKO Absolut. The brilliant design team for the Koenigsegg Jesko Absolut pushed limits and broke barriers when creating this absolute unit of a car. A 1600 horsepower twin turbocharged V8 engine featuring the world's lightest V8 crankshaft results in a car capable of 330 miles per hour. This scaled down Hot Wheels version comes loaded with a highly detailed interior, slate Spectraflame paint. Wow, Mattel is getting really creative with these, paint names. Slate Spectraflame paint with the orange highlights throughout the body. So that create a sharp look, rivaling the real thing. Most importantly, check out the signature dihedral synchro helix actuation doors. Wow, what a pretty cool name for it. So it's supposedly the dihedral synchro helix actuation doors. Wow, I mean, like, I have no clue what it means, but we will check that out in a bit. All right. So pretty nice description of what the model is actually about. All right. So let's set this aside, and now let's bring this into the spotlight. All right. So okay. So a small packaging paper here. So once you take it off, it reveals what's a diorama, right? So it it's almost like the Jesko is parked in a airstrip, right? So and then this is in the foreground. You have something like looks like a runway in the background. Well, so that is the effect that this card basically brings to the model, right? So let's get the car out of the packaging. All right, nice. Okay, it came off pretty neatly. even someone like me could kind of like get it off easily. So that's nice. All right, let me move the light a little so that, okay. So there we have it, right? So with that background, with that background, it looks like it's in an airfield, right? Which is actually, kind of like a nice coincidence. I think it may have been intended to be in an airstrip. I'll tell you why in a minute. All right. So there we have it. So the Koenigsegg YESKO Absolut. So brilliant details into the packaging. Now let's check out the car. There are like a couple of extra mounts for the doors, and slate spectraflame. So that is what is slate spectraflame. This is as it came from the factory. I still have not got my fingerprints all over it, right? So check that out. So especially when the light hits it like that, wow, it's pretty beautiful. And it's got so if I were to break down slate spectraflame, it's definitely like a chrome shade of black, right? So it's not black, but if black had a chrome version, I think this would be it, right? Slate spectraflame. So check out those wheels, and it says Koenigsegg, the Koenigsegg emblem, and Koenigsegg Jesko Absolut are registered trademarks and the design of Koenigsegg. So standard copyright verbiage there. All right, let's take this guy off the screws and let's check it out. Okay, so compared to my struggle with Ford GT40, this one was a breeze. So I had absolutely no issues getting it off the screws. All right, and there are always these small plastic mounts into which the screws go from the bottom. All right, so let me set all this packaging here, and let me also move the base plate out of the way. So there we have it. Let me try and zoom the camera in so that, wow, so pretty beautiful. I mean, it rolls beautifully, so that's a win. Now, about all those details, right? Check out those seats, right? Beautiful. It's an amazing finish, right? So I think I need like more light here, right? I've got like two overhead lights, but it doesn't seem to be enough. So I think I gotta get creative. Now, okay, so I'm just trying to see if it has some kind of a harness. It actually does. It actually does. All right. Okay. Yep. Hopefully the light is hitting it at that angle where you're able to see it. All right. Yep. So nice harness there. And in the past, in Tarmac Works releases and all, we have had this cowl that was removable. But the only moving parts in this particular Hot Wheels release seems to be the doors, right? So this is what they were talking about. So you bring them and then you click them in. Did you see that? Let's try it this way. So, the doors open up like that. You are able to kind of like bring them down, and you kind of like put a gentle push, and it kind of like snaps into place. Do you see that? Wow, that's pretty cool. So, if we were to kind of like do it in reverse, okay, and it goes up like that. Pretty cool, right? So amazing. I think that is kind of like the first time Mattel kind of like put such special doors on a car. And the kick is that it fits pretty perfectly. There are no mishaps like what we had with the McLaren F1, right? So those doors would not even like fit properly. So definitely kudos to the Hot Wheels design team in making sure that these doors kind of like snap into place. All right, so now with regards to the model, right? So this is the Koenigsegg YESKO Absolut, right? So there are apparently two models, two variations of the Koenigsegg YESKO. One is the attack model, and this one, as you see here, is the Absolute model, right? So the Koenigsegg YESKO Attack has a much larger, spoiler, which generates a high downforce. But apparently, this particular model is built for speed. So this one, this kind of a rear spoiler is supposed to bring down the aerodynamic drag, and it lets the vehicle reach speeds of up to 330 miles per hour, which, if you actually think about it, it's pretty insane, right? So 330 miles per hour. Wow. Okay, so pretty beautiful model, and now let's try to see. Okay, so it says Jesko Absolut, and beautiful Koenigsegg logo there. So, like it said in the packaging, it's got this um, orange highlights throughout the body, right? So there you have the orange highlights, and pretty beautiful. I mean, let's check it out. This is how it looks from the front, right? Pretty beautiful hypercar contours. And wow, you can literally visualize the air kind of like flowing through the rear of the vehicle and getting split by that spoiler, right? So very beautiful execution, right? Now I have a very fun story for this ghost logo that you see here. It's pretty awesome. It was really cool when I read about it. This is actually kind of an Easter egg, and it is actually a tribute to the Ghost Squadron, right? So you see that tiny ghost, decal back there, right? So let me bring up the packaging, because it's a tad more clear on the packaging, right? So this is the icon that we are talking about, right? So this icon is basically a tribute to the Ghost Squadron that had its roots in the Swedish Air Force, right? So the story goes that one of Koenigsegg's factory kind of like burned down, and then they moved their operations to this abandoned airfield of the Ghost Squadron, right? And apparently, the Ghost Squadron's motto was "The show will go on," right? So this squadron used to kind of like start much before daybreak, and they used to kind of like land back at the base after finishing their routine scout operations or whatever they were doing, and they would land after the sun sets. So literally, like the local residents would only ever hear the plane; they would never see it, right? So that is why they had the name Ghost Squadron, right? So as a tribute to this special unit of the Swedish Air Force, and the fact that Koenigsegg actually relocated part of its operations to this abandoned airfield, which was once like the hub of the Ghost Squadron. Every car which is made in that facility actually carries this logo. That's what I found out, right? So, and it said that it is pretty obvious and kind of like self-evident that Koenigsegg chose to follow that logo, because just like the Ghost Squadron, Koenigsegg is also saying that the show will go on, since they continue to break known barriers every day with their engineering and technology. And we have to talk about the wheels, right? The wheels are like super classy, sporty wheels, right? I mean, they actually resemble the wheels that we generally see on the Countach, right? But the colors make them look completely different, right? So those kind of like pearl white lipped wheels, right? And they are actually two different set of wheels if you actually see it. Let me just like move the light a little. All right. See there. So this one looks more like the Countach wheels. And check this out. This is like a standard 5-spoke wheel, right? So that is pretty cool. Looks like that's by design. All right. So excellent choice of wheels, right? So definitely a pretty cool model that would make a great add to any collection, right? So that's what I had for you guys today. Hope you like the video. Like and share the video if you like the content, And if you have not subscribed to the channel already, please consider subscribing. Till I meet you guys next time, this is Suresh signing off. Rock on and stay awesome. Bye, everyone.